Hello all, I'm Dr. Kaustubh Mohite, your pediatric pulmonologist. Welcome back to my channel Pediatric Pulmonology. In this episode, we will be talking about the basics of anatomy of respiratory system. The respiratory system extends from nose to the alveoli. The air enters via the nose or mouth, passes through the pharynx, the larynx, the conducting airways like trachea, bronchi, the bronchioles, followed by gas exchanging airways like respiratory bronchioles and alveolar ducts, and finally into the alveoli. Gas exchange takes place in the alveoli, which covers the surface of the gas exchanging airways. As we talk about the anatomy of respiratory system, let us begin with larynx. In neonates, larynx is funnel shaped, situated at the level of C2 C3 cervical vertebra and reaches the C1 cervical vertebra when elevated, thus enabling simultaneous breathing and suckling at this age. In adults, it is found lower at the level of C3 to C6 cervical vertebra. It is composed of three single cartilages, which are cricoid, thyroid, and epiglottis, and three double cartilages, which are arytenoid, cuneiform, and corniculate cartilages, as well as ligaments, membranes, and muscles attached to it. Larynx is supplied by superior and inferior laryngeal arteries, and it receives its nerve innervations from the vagus nerve. The larynx may be divided into three parts, that is, supraglottis, glottis, and subglottis. The supraglottis includes the epiglottic tip, the arytenoid folds, and the arytenoid cartilage. The vocal apparatus is located at the glottis level and includes the pearly white true vocal cords that lie on each side of the opening called rima glottidis, and above and lateral to each of them are the pink vestibular folds, also called as the false vocal cords, covered by vascular mucosa. The subglottis is continuous with the trachea. The trachea lies between the esophagus and the sternum and consists of anterolaterally C-shaped incomplete cartilaginous rings and fibromuscular wall posteriorly. Just before the pulmonary hyla, at the carina, it bifurcates into the right and the left main bronchi. The right bronchus is shorter, larger in diameter, and lies more vertically as compared to the left one. Trachea gets its blood supply from the inferior thyroid artery, whereas the bronchial artery supplies the right and the left main bronchus. This tracheobronchial tree gets its nerve innervation from the pulmonary plexus. The two lungs are similar but are not entirely symmetrical. The left lung is lower in volume and narrower compared to the right lung due to the presence of heart in the left thoracic cavity. The right lung is relatively shorter due to the liver, and thus the right hemidiaphragm is higher than the left. The right lung consists of three lobes, which are superior, middle, and inferior lobes, divided by two fissures. The oblique fissure separates the inferior from the superior and the middle lobe, and the shorter horizontal fissure separates the superior from the middle lobe. The left lung consists of two lobes, which are superior and inferior lobes separated by the oblique fissure. The lingula is a small process of the superior lobe, usually found at the end of the cardiac notch. The lung gets its blood supply from both pulmonary and systemic circulation. Two pulmonary arteries from the pulmonary trunk from right ventricle sends the deoxygenated blood to the alveoli for reoxygenation. The oxygenated blood returns via the pulmonary veins to the left atrium. Bronchial arteries from the aorta supply lung regions not participating in the gas exchange. The bronchial veins drain into the azygous system. Lungs gets its nerve innervation from pulmonary plexus. The sympathetic fibers arising from the cervical and upper thoracic ganglia are responsible for bronchodilation, whereas parasympathetic fibers originated from vagus nerve causes bronchoconstriction. Each main bronchus divides into lobar bronchi, which subdivides into segmental bronchi. Each segmental bronchus is a functional independent lung unit called as bronchopulmonary segment, which has high clinical relevance. Collapse or infection of a segment is restricted to that segment and does not affect the whole lung. The segments are separated partially by connective tissue. Both lungs have 10 segments each. The right superior lobe comprises of apical, posterior and anterior segments. Right middle lobe has lateral and medial segment, whereas right inferior lobe has superior, medial basal, anterior basal, lateral basal and posterior basal segments. Similarly, left superior lobe comprises of apical, posterior, anterior, superior lingular and inferior lingular segments, whereas left inferior lobe comprises of superior, medial basal, anterior basal, lateral basal and posterior basal segments. As we have learned from our previous embryology topic, bronchial tree subdivides further by dichotomous branching. The proximal airway contains cartilage plates in their walls. Towards the periphery, the size of the cartilage plates decreases and eventually no cartilage is present. Beyond this point, the conducting airway are called bronchioles. On average, the bronchial tree contains around 23 generations of airways, ranging from about 17 generations in the upper lobe segments to about 32 generations in posterior basal segments. On average, the first 10 generations are bronchi, followed by 4 generations of conducting bronchioles and 4 generations of respiratory bronchioles. Thus, on average, the first 14 generations up to the terminal bronchioles are purely conducting, and together with the upper respiratory tract, they represent the anatomical dead space of the respiratory system, where only gas transfer takes place. Distal to terminal bronchioles, the gas exchange area begins, including several generations of respiratory bronchioles, alveolar ducts and saccules. The alveoli, where gas transfer takes place, covers the wall of the saccule and alveolar ducts and partially covers the walls of the respiratory bronchioles. The small tree of airway distal to the terminal bronchioles is called the acinus, which represents the functional respiratory unit of the lung parenchyma. Inside these acini, the transition of the respiratory bronchioles to the alveolar ducts take place. The point of transition is called the bronchoalveolar duct junction and hosts stem cells that are important for lung regeneration. Other non-pulmonary structures of the thorax include the chest wall, pleura and diaphragm. The pleura is a serous membrane that covers the lung. The inner layer or visceral pleura adheres directly to the lung surface except for the hilum area. The outer layer or parietal pleura is adjacent to the structure that covers the lung. According to its location, it is called costovertebral, cervical, mediastinal or diaphragmatic pleura. Bronchial artery supplies the visceral pleura. Subclavian artery supplies the subclavian pleura. Intercostal arteries supply the costovertebral pleura, whereas diaphragmatic vascular plexus supplies the diaphragmatic pleura. Venous drainage is directed to the superior vena cava. The visceral pleura has no sensory innervation, whereas the parietal pleura is innervated by intercostal and phrenic nerves. A thin pleural cavity lies between the two layers. The pleural fluid serves as a lubricant and allows the two layers to slide against each other during respiratory movements. The diaphragm is a major inspiratory muscle and separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. It consists of a central tendon part and the peripheral muscular part. Failure of fusion of muscle fibers may cause a congenital diaphragmatic hernia, commonly at the left posterolateral diaphragmatic corner, also called as Bogdalek hernia. Blood supply to the diaphragm comes from the phrenic branch that arises from the aorta, and nerve innervation is by phrenic nerve. So that completes my comprehensive discussion regarding the anatomy of respiratory system. I shall be soon coming up with other topics related to pediatric pulmonology, which I am sure will make you understand the topic much better. Thank you.